The first prophet. Transient property becomes everlasting. For this waning life, when given to the eternal and self-subsistent Lord of glory and spent for his sake, will be transmuted into eternity. It will yield eternal fruits. The moments of one's life will apparently vanish and rot like kernels and seeds. But then the flowers of blessedness and auspiciousness will open and bloom in the realm of eternity, and each will also present a luminous and reassuring aspect in the intermediate realm. The second prophet. The high price of paradise is given in exchange. The third prophet. The value of each limb and each sense is increased 1,000-fold. The intelligence is, for example, like a tool. If you do not sell it to Almighty Allah, but rather employ it for the sake of the soul, it will become an ill-omened, noxious and debilitating tool that will burden your weak person with all the sad sorrows of the past and the terrifying fears of the future. It will descend to the rank of an inauspicious and destructive tool. It is for this reason that a sinful man will frequently resort to drunkenness or frivolous pleasure in order to escape the vexations and injuries of his intelligence. But if you sell your intelligence to its true owner and employ it on his behalf, then it will become like the key to a talisman, unlocking the infinite treasures of compassion and the vaults of wisdom that creation contains. It will thus rise to being a dominical guide, preparing its owner for eternal bliss. To take another example, the eye is one of the senses, a window through which the spirit looks out onto this world. If you do not sell it to Allah Almighty, but rather employ it on behalf of the soul, by gazing upon a handful of transient, impermanent beauties and scenes, it will sink to the level of being a pander to lust and the concupiscent soul. But if you sell the eye to the all-seeing Maker and employ it on his behalf and within limits traced out by him, then your eye will rise to the rank of a reader of the great book of being, a witness to the miracles of dominical art, a blessed bee sucking on the blossoms of mercy in the garden of this globe. Yet another example is that of the tongue and the sense of taste. If you do not sell it to your wise Creator, but employ it instead on behalf of the soul and for the sake of the stomach, it sinks and declines to a level of a gatekeeper at the stable of the stomach, a watchman at its factory. But if you sell it to the generous provider, the sense of taste contained in the tongue will rise to the rank of a skilled overseer of the treasuries of divine compassion, a grateful inspector in the kitchens of Allah's eternal power. So look well, O intelligence. See the difference between a tool of destruction and the key to all being. And look carefully, O eye. See the difference between an abominable pander and the learned overseer of the divine library, and taste well, O tongue. See the difference between a stable doorkeeper or a factory watchman and the superintendent of the treasury of Allah's mercy. Compare all other tools and limbs to these, and then you will understand that in truth the believer acquires a nature worthy of paradise and the unbeliever a nature conforming to hell. The reason for each of them attaining his respective value is that the believer, by virtue of his faith, uses the trust of his Creator on his behalf and within the limits traced out by him, whereas the unbeliever betrays the trust and employs it for the sake of the instinctual soul